Hello, Robbie Perkins. Welcome to Not Just Headlines.
Well, Lily, thanks for having me.
Yes, so I saw your sign. I don't know where it is because I don't know street names, but I saw it near Grimsley, like your campaign sign up already. And you started like a year ago. Is that when you first announced that you were rerunning?
Well, Mayor Vaughn
Mm-hmm.
said that she wasn't going to run for re-election. And I always said that if I was ever going to run for another elected office, it would be mayor of the city of Greensboro. But I never thought it would happen.
Yeah.
So she said, I'm not going to run. And all of a sudden, my phone started ringing, and
Mm.
various folks around the community called and they said, you need to think
Yeah, that's
about
usually
it.
how it
And,
happens.
and I
Yeah.
said, probably not. And then it probably not went to, well, I'm thinking about it a little bit. And then, there are certain things that you don't want to just pass on. And so I said,
Mm-hmm.
I can do this. I have no learning curve. I've been on city council for 16 years, was mayor for 2 years, so a total of 18 years. And I know how the city works. I know how to get things done in the city. And I think I can come in and make a difference as to how our city's going to function in the next few years.
Yeah, so did this feel like a second chance of sorts for you? Because I know Mayor Nancy Vaughn kind of, she was running a lot consecutively. And did you feel like now that she's stepping out, that this was your term? You're like, okay, I can finally do this.
Well, there are times in life for everything,
Mm-hmm.
and my children are all grown,
Mm-hmm.
and so I had a little bit of extra time that I could throw into the political sphere, and I'm kind of a politics sort of junkie guy anyway. I think about city and county politics and how you can move things along in the community, and so I'm doing that anyway. And this just gives me a chance to get back in the mix. And instead of being an outsider looking in, I could really make some good things happen.
And as you said, you were on the city council for 16 years and mayor for 2 years. So, how would you describe your leadership style and the impact you made, and just sum up your time in office back then for people who don't know?
Well, I started back when Greensboro was a completely different city. I mean, our city has grown tremendously, and we're kind of trying to figure out whether we're going to be a big town, continue to be a big town, or we're going to become a city.
Mm-hmm.
And we're a very diverse community. We got lots of folks in here from all over the place, and we've got to kind of bring everybody together and figure out what we collectively want to do and then make it happen. I've been part of a couple of pretty big projects that people will know about. Number one, the GAC, the swim center out
Mm-hmm.
on Gate City Boulevard. I was one of the folks that helped get that started, and it's been a huge success. And then the other thing is, before I left office as mayor, we had bought the land for the Tanger Center because we couldn't be the third largest city in North Carolina without a first-rate performing arts center, and it needed to be in downtown. And that was one of the battles that I'm most proud of.
Mm-hmm. I've seen so many shows there. I saw Hamilton, Mean Girls. Like right when it first opened, my mom bought all of the tickets because she knows I'm a theater kid. So she's like, "Hey, you want to go?" And I absolutely loved it. So how were you Like, did you do that when you were mayor?
The idea came up as to what are we going to do with our performing arts center.
Mm-hmm.
We had an aging facility out at the Coliseum called War Memorial Auditorium, and it was too old to compete for premier shows, and really was not a facility that was fitting for a city our size. And so there was a great community debate whether to have it out at the Coliseum or where to put it downtown. And we had a failed bond referendum putting it out at the Coliseum. And so it came back up again. And I had a few folks around the community say, Mayor, what do you think? And I said, well, I need to think about this. And they said, well, if you don't move to put it downtown, what's your plan B for downtown? And so I said, I'll sleep on it. Well, I slept on it, got up the next morning, made the calls, said, I'm all in. Let's go make it happen. Let's try to make it happen. Well, the first thing we did, and I think it was really smart, some of the folks with the community foundation, principally Walker Sanders, said, we can't do this without building broad-based support for the effort. This isn't something that a mayor or anyone else is going to get behind and just make happen. You've got to have full support from the community. So we put a task force together, and we got input from all over the community. Some 4,000 or 5,000 people participated in that effort, and turned out that they wanted to see this type of facility in our downtown. So half the money was put in by the city, and another half basically was raised in the private sector, principally by Kathy Manning. And Kathy did just a tremendous job in raising that money. And so we have a public-private joint venture in our downtown that is an amazingly successful performing arts center. Since 2020, the Stephen Tanger Center for Performing Arts has generated a $6 million profit after debt service. So wow. This is a significant contributor to everything else that goes on in the city.
During COVID too.
Yeah, that's right.
Big.
It's been great.
Yeah. And you ran for re-election back in 2013. Why do you think you lost the 2013 election?
I had a rough time in 2013. It was Nancy Vaughn's a really strong candidate. Mm-hmm. I had some business issues and family issues, went through a pretty nasty divorce, and all that's over. It's behind me. Everything is going great, and time to make it happen again.
Yeah, so the kids are out of the house, things are kind of settled down now, and you're kind of ready to get back in.
Yeah, I think also I tried to lead the city before the city was ready to be led, frankly.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm a pretty aggressive person in terms of setting an agenda and then making it happen.
Me too, yeah.
I'm not going to sit back and relax. A sense of urgency is something that I think is really important, and we need to do that in our public policy. But I think I might have gotten out over my skis a little bit, but a lot of the things that we worked on as mayor they've worked on over the last 10 years and have come to fruition. But now I've got a whole nother list.
Yeah, so you're ready again.
Absolutely.
So looking back at your previous time in office, are there any particular moments that stand out to you that you necessarily regret, either professionally or personally, that you look back and you're like, I wish I could have done that differently?
You know, I think we do the best we can when we're there. Mm-hmm. And I think if I had one thing to do over again, it would have been pushing harder for more residential in our downtown. Mm-hmm. I think we were a little early because we were just coming out of the Great Recession, so nobody did really anything. But I think we've kind of missed an opportunity in Greensboro with the historically low interest rates and reasonable construction costs to build a lot more residential units in our downtown. And somehow we're going to have to make up for that.
And you've been out of office for over a decade, so you talked about what made you want to jump into politics now. So how are you preparing, using your past, experience to prepare to get into office if you win, essentially?
Well, I've never really been out of politics. Mm-hmm. Politics is in my blood. Mm-hmm. And so I've always kept in touch with what's going on. And in fact, I served as the chair of TREBIC for 2 years, which is the lobbying group for the builders and the realtors in this part of the world. I chaired the Economic Development Committee for the North Carolina Board of Realtors, so I'm pretty heavy in it there. I've participated in political forums and events over the last few years, so I haven't really left it. But I wasn't in elected office. Now I said, okay, I can take a deep breath and get back in. And as the mayor of the city of Greensboro, what you are is you're really the chairperson of the board, of a board of directors that really is responsible for hiring 2 people. We've got 3,400 employees in the city of Greensboro, but the city and council and the mayor can only hire and fire 2 people. That's the city manager and city attorney. So it's our job to be a board of directors, provide strategic guidance for the city manager, and let that person implement the council strategy. And that's what I'd want to be. I'd want to be the chairperson of the board. So my job would be to talk to the council individually and as a group, come up with what they want to get done, what we can get done. And keeping in mind it's a 9-member board, 5 votes wins. You don't need all 9 people to agree. You can get by with 5, preferably 6 or 7. But you need to give the manager clear direction, and that can be done with 5, 6, 7 votes or unanimous.
So do you still have relationships with people who are currently in office that you're going to have to be working with, or are you going to have to go back in and rebuild those relationships?
I know everybody.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so can you elaborate more on your time that you took out of public office and what that looks like and the kind of work that you've been doing in Greensboro that you can kind of speak on more?
Well, you know, I'm in a commercial real estate business. I've been a commercial real estate broker for 46 years with essentially the same firm. Our name's changed. Our work has changed over that time. And we've got offices across North and South Carolina. So we've got 7 offices. And so we see a lot of things. And I get the opportunity to travel and to see what other cities are doing. And I admire what other cities are doing. And I take what they're doing and want to bring them back home and get it done in Greensboro. For example, I really think we can step it up downtown. We need to make it a neat and cool place. And one of my goals is to be able to attract the young people that are graduating from our colleges and universities in the region and bring them into Greensboro and have them live their lives here. Smart people that are going to be well paid. They're going to want something neat and cool to do when they're not working. And that happens in downtowns across the country. And you see some cities that do it right and some cities that don't do such a good job. And I think we're okay in Greensboro, but I don't think we're competitive for where I want to see us go.
Okay, so is that your vision for Greensboro over the next 4 years? You kind of have like a slogan that you kind of want to see Greensboro grow over the next 4 years?
Well, I think Greensboro's got an umbrella of things that we've got to do well. I think the downtown is just one piece. Public safety is a piece. Folks have got to feel safe in wherever they live in Greensboro. And you hear about it every day. You know, people are driving too fast on our streets. You know, we've got a homeless situation in Greensboro. How do we deal with that? You know, we've got too many people getting shot. How do we deal with that? So, you know, it's a very serious public safety concern, and we need to talk about it as a community and then work with the entire community as to how we're going to make it better. And I think we can do that. I think there's lots of conversations that have been held over a period of years, but you need a city council and a mayor that's going to get behind your public safety folks and frankly have their back. And that's what I was when I was in office, and I'll be that way again. Another thing that I think we've got to be prepared for, because we've got a huge amount of economic growth happening in the region, is that we've got to be prepared for that growth. And that means, again, housing, but it also means infrastructure, water, sewer, roads, police stations, fire stations, rec centers. The whole thing has to be worked together, and we've got to be prepared for the big growth spurt that we're going to have in our near future.
And speaking to the young voters like me, why do you think a young voter should trust you with their vote?
Well, you know, they need somebody they can talk to. And literally, when you called me up and contacted me, you know, I said, yeah, sure, I want to talk to you. And I listen to what young people have to say. I've got 5 children, and they give me their input. They say, Dad, you got to make Greensboro cool. And I've got to have something to do when I get back here. I can't, you know, I don't want to just sit home and watch TV. I want to go out, I want to go to, you know, restaurants, clubs, entertainment facilities, and have a good time. So we got to make sure that happens. And some of the deferred maintenance on some of our facilities is getting pretty high. Like, go out to the bathrooms at Bryan Park at the soccer fields, and they're not where they need to be. I mean, we're bringing thousands of people in a year there, but we got 50-year-old bathrooms. We need to fix them up. We need to either knock them down and build new ones, or probably is the way I'd go. But we need to keep up what we've got so that people say, you know, you're a city that cares about its public facilities. We can't allow this stuff to run down. So part of my work is going to be lobbying the elected state officials on how we get more resources here into Greensboro so we can take care of our public facilities.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
I had a great time, and I hope this gets out to your voters. One message I'd leave you with is we've done the numbers, and in these local municipal elections, there are 203,000 elected voters, registered voters in the city of Greensboro. And in the last municipal election, 32,500 of them voted. So it's a little under 16%. If you break that down to the young voter, under 40, 4% vote.
Wow.
Terrible turnout.
Yeah.
Young people in Greensboro need a voice, and you need to show up and vote.
Yes. Well, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.